Film Club.
Both.
Oh my god. I'm buzzing that we're both right. It's not often that happens, is it?
Thank you very much for joining us in an episode of Film Club. I am one of your host, Andy Harrison. To my right, as always, it's the 100-year-old man himself, Andy Donaldson.
100 episode old.
Andy, this is a very, very special episode of Film Club because this week we didn't invite the audience along to watch a film with us. Instead,
We invited
this
ourselves
week,
and our memories.
we are here to celebrate 100 episodes of Film Club.
Yeah, well played, mate.
My hand's a bit sweaty. I do
Oh god, it
apologise.
is, yeah. Just deciding his fucking list on the spot there.
I genuinely have. So, if you missed our episode, I think it was 52 last time, but if you missed last time, every 50 episodes going forward, we are going to take a look back and pick our top 5 favourites each.
Of the last 50. But we have a couple of, well, we decided like a little rule set, which is kind of ones that we haven't seen before. Obviously, as we go down the line, we see more films, and we revisit old films, it's going to be harder to do. But for the time being, we figured in the last however many episodes that we've done, 48, that we have seen enough individual new films to ourselves.
Yeah.
That we could do that. So that was our rule set. Therefore, we both got honourable mentions.
So, speaking of that, let's start. Honourable mentions.
I've got 2, you've got 3.
Okay. So, I have nothing. I think I have 4. So,
Well condensed, Andy. Well condensed.
I've got 4 honourable mentions.
Top fucking 5, not 9.
Which they're honourable mentions because I'd already seen them.
Yes.
So, like,
Yes.
and that's Dallas Buyers Club, Blues Warmest Colour, 2001: Space Odyssey, and Shame.
Yeah, good shout. Good shout.
So give me your honourables.
Mine are Seven Samurai and Hunger.
Yep, those are good shouts.
Yeah.
So start us off. Give us your number 5.
Oh, we're going straight into it.
Yeah. Well, do you want to talk about something else first? Like you look very nice today. If you want to talk about your current
Oh
outfit.
yeah, I could do with a grey thing. We've got matching today. I just have a white t-shirt.
Nice texture actually.
Yeah, everyone says that. I just a fucking grey hoodie, man.
It's a really nice
a grey
textured
hoodie.
hoodie.
I'm sorry. It's my jogging hoodie actually. It's smelly.
Never jogged in his life.
I fucking jog once a week. I'll have it, at the moment. My 5th one is To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh, that is a great.
I know. I
Great
was
film.
fucking buzzing with that film. I really enjoyed it. And I was going through all these films, and I had a bit of a trouble deciding the last one. It was between that and Shame. But the only reason I was choosing Shame is because I absolutely loved Steve McQueen, and I thought, you know what? Well, I love Steve McQueen from Hunger.
Yep.
And then watching that scene, so I thought it's better having that as an honourable mention, Hunger,
Yeah.
which I did like more. Even though Shame had some amazing classical music in it, and go with To Kill a Mockingbird because it was a classic. This is one of the reasons I really enjoyed the fact that we do at Film Club is because it's a classic that I really wanted to see for fucking ages, and we actually got around to seeing. And obviously that amazing moment where he's in the court and all the other aspects of the film as well. You got Robert Duvall at the end coming in, and he's like, "Oh, this is class."
And Atticus Finch being one of the most important cinematic protagonists
Heroes
ever.
ever, yeah. He's just class, and they all stand up and and it's just that like haunting moment where he's lost and stuff, and it's just everything works together in that film, and it makes this really good cinematic experience. And I remember watching it, and it was just a feel good as best it could be. It was just a really good cinematic experience, and I just thought
Immensely well paced.
So hugely, yeah. So I thoroughly enjoyed that, and I was thinking if we go on like a bit like top 5 and stuff, I really enjoyed that, not for the film alone, but for everything it represents in terms of Film Club. What Film Club represents is in that film. Sorry, we just had something drop off there. If you heard that, I don't think they did because these microphones are daft. It represents a lot of what Film Club is, and it's on about like introducing us to films that we may have not ever got around to seeing.
And ending up in court. So, my number 5.
Studio Canal.
My number 5, Solaris.
Yes, okay. Interesting that you said that, yeah?
Because Solaris was a film which hit me in a way I didn't expect to get hit. I didn't expect a film that dealt with that sort of level of sci-fi to also not deal with that level of sci-fi.
Yep.
It was a film which I think challenged me in...
It challenged so fucking much.
It absolutely did. In an artistic sense.
Yeah.
In the context of what film is, it almost stands as a representation of what film could have been had it chosen a different, less popular avenue. And instead, like, obviously, when people think of film, most times they think of Hollywood.
Yeah.
And I think Solaris stood as a point of, this is where we could have taken things, this is where we could have taken a genre.
Is it like a little side off, a bit like French New Wave?
Yeah, and obviously for Tarkovsky, the whole point of Solaris was like he wanted to prove sci-fi could have been something more, and I think he absolutely proved it. Like those performances, those characters, that location is stuck in my head. And some of the weird experimentation, like
That was trippy.
that happens even before they go off to the actual station.
What, when they're in the kind of farm place and having the conversations?
The farm place, like there's that sequence where you drive off into the city and stuff. And it's a film which delights in being different.
Good choice.
Number 4, sir, what is it?
Locke. I knew it was going to be the list.
I knew it was going to be on here.
I fucking love that film. I absolutely love that film. I think it's because it was just a really good example of I learned this term off you, a vehicle for an actor.
Pun intended.
And you said that last episode when we did it, so jokes not there. And yeah, I think it was really cool to end a trilogy of Tom Hardy, and I think that I do really rate the guy as an actor. I think he's fantastic, and to go through what we had there when one of our viewers recommended The Drop, and then to go on there to Bronson, and then completely change the dynamic of his acting again in Locke. And to carry himself in such a way, I mean, I know he had help from, what's his name, Spider-Man's in it, Tom Holland, and Olivia Colman from Peep Show.
And Tom Hardy does all the heavy lifting.
Exactly. And to do that in a film, and then you have the other fact, I think what got it for me is the fact when I learned that the cameras were in a car,
Yeah.
and there were live calls, and it was basically a theatre production.
Yep.
And I was just like, that, I already loved the film as it was, I loved everything about it, and I thought it was really fantastic. And then it was like, a fucking, oh yeah, and here's another thing why it's great as well. When you told me that, I was just like, right, fucking sold, great film, excellent, well on board with that. And I just think everything worked for it, and it was just an experience. And at the end, I remember finishing it, I was just like, you just sat there nodding to yourself, like, okay, Ocean's 11 that we watched earlier in these last 50 episodes, it's not on my list. That end scene where they're at the fountain just looking at each other and nodding, that's how I felt at the end of Locke. I was just like looking at myself in the window going like that. So yeah, Locke is fucking fantastic film.
And I think it was also the fact that with Locke, like you said, it was rounding out this impromptu Tom Hardy trilogy we'd been on because someone had recommended The Drop.
Yeah.
And like I really sat and thought about The Drop for a minute, and I realized I was thinking about The Drop for my list, mostly because one of our audience members just kind of sent us off on this really cool little exploration of Tom Hardy.
Exactly.
It was just so much fun doing that.
Which is kind of like, and another one of ours as well, I remember his name, just because it's more recent, Andrew sent us off into the Monster Calls, which led us into Pan's Labyrinth as well.
Well, if I remember right, the one did The Drop was Holanda Chiquita.
Good shout. I could remember the name.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, my number 4, Hunger.
Yes, good shout, mate. I'm so glad that shot.
Steve McQueen's work is phenomenal.
I think for me that the one, I don't know if it was me that was that shot, but I think the one that caught me is just that 5-minute moment where they're banging away. It's just silent with the banging.
Yep.
And obviously the police officers go in, and it just built up so much tension and suspense in the sound. And I was just like,
the decision to kind of sideline you by putting you with different characters for like a third of the film, and then to start making you think like what's going on with this corrections officer, and then to finally get to Michael Fassbender, and then to get the scene from Michael Fassbender. That's just this dialogue that goes on and on and on and on, but not in a way which makes you
Liam
feel
Cunningham as well.
Like it's going on and on, in a way which is immensely engaging. What a stunning dialogue back and forth between those two.
It's superbly directed.
Add into it one of the most beautifully grim aesthetics you can imagine for a film, and then this like
fucking hunger strike,
gut punching sort of underlying themes of the film, just fantastic. Like obviously, I think I said when we were doing Hunger at the time that for me it doesn't quite top Shame, but I hold Shame in an immensely high regard. So that doesn't say anything bad about this film at all. This film is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Well played.
Number 3, my man.
Blues Brothers.
Oh, I was so hoping you were going to put us on the list. I
Definitely.
looked at that for a long time.
It had to be, mate. It had to be. Just everything about that film. It was such a fun film to watch. I never expected it to be that good. Like, the music is amazing. I was on about this. I was visiting our grandparents yesterday, and I were on about classics that I've seen in the last year. And I was like, oh, Blues Brothers. And my granddad turned around and goes, oh, Andrew, that's a great film. And I was going, yeah, the music's amazing in it and all this. John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd as well, who directs it as well. And yeah, it was just everything about the film was so feel good. It was like there's parts that were serious, there parts that were just daft. And in amongst it all was just this amazing, like, kind of like change of genre score that just helped bring the film together. And then he just had that amazing moment at the end. And it just felt like a really, I mean, no wonder it's like a cult movie now. Like, loads of people love it, and it spawned sequels besides the fact that Belushi passed away. and everything just worked in this film. And it just, again, a bit like Locke, whereas Locke's more serious, and he's just, you have this amazing cinematic moment, which is, again, like To Kill a Mockingbird. With this, it was such a feel-good moment. It come out at the end just feeling really jovial, just like, get in, like, cracking. I just want to listen to some class blues now. I think I started listening after that. I listened to, there's an artist I listen to called Power of Stella, and he has a really good album called The Art of Sampling, which is kind of like swing that he makes into like kind of electro and stuff. He has a later album called, I think it's The Burning Spider, and he actually incorporates, I sent you a song, some blues rock in it, and it's a weird combination of blues and like kind of electro, stuff like that. And it works, and I was listening, I was like, oh, I fucking really get into this and all this, which obviously spurred on to other aspects of blues like and stuff. And I was just like discovering like a genre I don't normally listen to through that film.
Similarly, I couldn't quite get it onto my list, but I had listened to way more Commitments.
Oh, Commitments! Oh, I
thought
looked at that.
I would. When I found out they were an actual band afterwards,
yeah,
I listened to so much of their stuff.
Good. Oh, Commitments is fucking class.
Yeah, Blues Brothers, absolutely. It's one of those films where it's got such a it's weird, it's peculiar, but it's got such a personality to it. And
the fact that came off of a Saturday Night Live sketch, like Jesus Christ! And one of the guys that acted in it was the fucking director. To have that much come out of that little, like it just proves their talent, capabilities. There's the team behind it. It was fucking superb.
Absolutely, that was a great call. That's a good pick.
You're a good pick.
My number 3, since I'm such a good pick, is Breathless.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I knew you put this in your list because I know you love French New Wave, and I don't think I have that love for it to be like, oh my God, it was amazing, but I fucking enjoyed that film, mate. It was so good.
It's like, how do you not put a film on the list which represents everything great about cinema, about a bunch of people who looked at what Hollywood was and looked at its influence and thought about how it was going to influence their culture and decided to try and make something with a unique voice. So challenged every single aspect of cinema. And Breathless is one of those films that represents all of that. The film on its own, in its own pure right, completely removed from all that sort of influence, is still this really sort of cool, slick, quirky, not even exploration. It's more of a voyeuristic approach to watching this guy
That's a funny
fuck things up.
Yeah.
And to have to be wrapped in this package, which just starts to think like, how can I change this? How can I change this? Like I think I said this during the episode, but every time the book on cinema said go left, they said, what if we went right? And it just makes this film that has one of the most unique voices I've ever seen in cinema. And you can absolutely see why it became so influential.
And who was it that directed that again?
That is Jean-Luc Godard.
Good shout. I didn't want to put you on the spot. I was curious.
Sorry, it's what I'm here for.
Cool.
So,
good choice.
Moving on, number 2.
My phone turned off. I remember that. I should know it anyway. It is In Bruges, of course. So I showed our girlfriend In Bruges last night. You nearly put this as your 6th choice.
This was number 6 for me.
So yeah, In Bruges is just, I haven't seen a film that's made me laugh that much in a long, long time. There is fucking everything to that film in terms of quirkiness and humour. I was watching that scene with it. He goes, you're not going to get the tower. Come on, look at you, you're a bunch of elephants. And he's running around, and Colin Farrell's just doing that fucking crazy dance like this, and this guy's like walking off camera, walking back on, out of breath. And then, what's his name, comes in, Brendan Gleeson. It was, you're not going to get there. And they turn around and they return. I was going to Morag, I was going to our girlfriend, I was going, oh yeah, later on the film, they actually got the tower and he's had a heart attack, and she's laughing. She's like, what? And it's like really good how they extending that joke. Obviously, that scene just before they actually got the Watchtower, where it's Brendan Gleeson, it's Ralph Fiennes, and he's just after the one where he's taking off the thing and he's going, Harry, what? It's an inanimate fucking object. You're an inanimate fucking object, like that. And then obviously he travels to Bruges, and he goes, you call my kids cunts? Hands down, like I'm like laughing, fucking thinking about that film, and I want to watch it again. I want to watch it with her, and just everything about it just speaks humour, and it's just you will agree, it's fantastic.
It is. It's this immensely.
That's funny.
It's very quotable in lots of ways, which makes it like a very charming, likable film. But it's also like
it's quite deep as well in some aspects.
Yeah, like Martin McDonagh manages to ride the line between this like serious storytelling stuff and really dark humour.
Yes.
It creates this amazing blend which you almost don't see anywhere else.
It's a very, very good experience.
He's managed to make a very subtle style for himself, but it's his style. Good call. Second, you're going to like this.
Oh, wait, hold on. Actually, I don't know, God.
It's Tree of Life. I think this might be the film we diverged most on in film club. And Tree of Life, for me, was this really sort of...
Could do it.
This is Terrence Malick's magnum opus. I think even if he makes 1,000 more films, I don't think he'll ever beat Tree
I
of
really
Life.
hope you haven't chosen again for your first one.
I haven't.
Oh, thank
so
God.
this was Terrence Malick making a film about... I know it sounds ridiculous, about life, but he does that on such a grand scale and also on such a minute scale.
The intro was absolutely fantastic.
It's phenomenal. And then you get that weird part with dinosaurs. I never expected to be so engaged with a section about like CGI dinosaurs. And it like hats off this guy for, similar to Breathless in lots of ways, experimenting in every facet of that.
Yeah.
You'll be happy to know, by the way, he's releasing another cut of the film that's 45 minutes longer.
All the parts of it was like existential, and it's about like how he came to be and where we're going to go.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed.
Yeah.
It was the snippets of his life and the Brad Pitt bits and stuff in between. I couldn't get on.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do that. Like, and there was the but yeah, I knew that was going to be that. I knew it was going to be that or the one we watched the other day.
So anyway, that's Tree of Life. It's for Tree of Life, it's either you're gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. I really think it's a Marmite film. I think people either adore this film or they detest it. So give us
exactly what it is. I told you already.
Number one. Have you?
Yeah, you already know what it is. You don't look at. Have a guess.
I don't know.
Have a guess what it's going to be. What we watched this year that I'd never seen before, and you were like,
"Oh, it's 2001: A Space Odyssey." Oh, of course it is.
how do you not get that?
I forgot you hadn't seen it.
Yeah. So 2001. For you, I don't have to state why, but for these guys, I do have to state why. That film encompasses everything that I love about film. And I can't believe it took so long to see it. Maybe because at the time when I was first watched it, I wasn't as big a film buff as I am now.
Yeah.
That film has CGI special effects influence on the sci-fi genre. It has this incredible AI that helped develop AI forward, from stuff like stuff to Ex Machina nowadays, like that, which is a recent British production. Makes you question, existential, not existential. Makes you question yourself and stuff. Like you've got like stuff like Matrix. What is it to be human? Is there a specific progress? Can you actually define it?
You see its DNA in almost all of sci-fi today.
Absolutely, but I think it extends a bit further. The use of classical music. I mean, this is Kubrick, right? So it's like perfectionism. The use of the classical music in film. This is him exploring avenues. Like, I mean, look at stuff like Interstellar nowadays that we did after. How like Hans Zimmer decided to go for a space opera, and he decided to use the massive church organs. Sorry, I'm getting out of breath. In space, and you look at that influence over there, and the use of who was it that was in that? The Strauss brothers, two different Strauss brothers. The use of that in the film that really elated that. It helped bring it forward. It didn't seem out of place because normally you used to see stuff like Strauss before in a auditorium or something like that, or a theatre, just like this really massive orchestra. But to see it in space and see these amazing effects, which by the way were all practical, and just to be able to do that with practical effects, which is another tangent to go on. All these avenues that Kubrick went down, this perfectionism, and everything came together to bring out this absolute masterpiece that, yes, you're absolutely right, it is one of the best films ever. And just the sense of scale of the film itself, but also its influence and just how long it's just stayed there at the top of the pedestal, I think it'd be stupid not to have that as my number one.
Yeah, that is an amazing, amazing film. A stunning piece of work. And like to talk about someone like Kubrick, who's considered one of the masters of cinema, but then easily that is one of his best films. Like all of his films are magnificent, but I don't think anyone would ever argue you put in that at like top 3 Kubrick films. I don't think anyone would ever argue with if you said that's Kubrick's best film.
But I think that in itself, I think you have to realise why it's a great film, because it is a bit Marmite. To some people.
Yeah.
People who, because it takes long to get through.
I feel like if somebody understands cinema and likes to look at the way cinema is constructed, you love 2001.
And you look at the way that it's been developed down the line since that construction.
Yeah, I think if someone is looking for entertainment, no.
Yeah, I agree.
I think there's a difference. Interestingly, my number one, I think, straddles both of those lines. I think it's amazing entertainment, and I think it's a phenomenal construct of cinema.
Hold up, let me try and get it.
You go for it. We got all night.
How far back are we going?
Do you want me to tell you?
How far back are we going?
Okay, I'll tell you this. It's earlier than 2001.
I don't know.
Seven Samurai.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it before. Oh, I should have fucking got that. I knew that was going to be on the list, but I thought that was honourable mention.
No. It
Oh,
was on your
2001
honourable
was-
mentions.
Yeah, of course it was.
So
Yes.
we actually did this 50 episode roundup
The
last
one
time.
after Seven
and
Samurai.
the episode after.
I actually called it was going to be on your list, but for some reason, in my head, I called it, I thought it was in your honourable mention.
Nope.
Sorry.
Seven Samurai.
Fucking-
Akira Kurosawa
Yeah,
at
insane.
his best. For me, like this was the first, I could be wrong, but I think this was the first Kurosawa film I saw. Maybe it wasn't. But immediately after watching
yeah,
this,
you went on a
I
massive
went and
binge.
watched a bunch of Kurosawa stuff because I think this film has aged almost better than any other film I've ever seen. Because, like I said, I think a lot of times older films can be great if you're into cinema and you like seeing how films are constructed and all that stuff. But I think old films struggle to be entertaining to a modern audience. I completely believe that Seven Samurai is fully entertaining to any modern audience. It's a marvelous construct of like how you balance character arcs, interesting characters and character quirks, along with engaging action and plot and suspense and beautiful, beautiful cinematography. One of his final 4x3 films. And like the guy he had an eye for composing a frame and then moving a frame and putting images.
Is this where the editing comes out, which that 2 frames are painting, every frame of painting guy was on about? The editing out. The flag was like that, and then the next scene would come in with the flag, the way the flag's going.
I think his essay was about his backgrounds, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was about like he always had like really heavy
Consistency.
weather and stuff to give movement to your backgrounds.
Yeah.
Just because like he understood how film was a medium that utilized visuals, audio, and like how you use that to engage an audience in every possible facet. That film is something that shouldn't work. It's about 7 characters. That's its premise. It's about 7 characters plus all the villagers.
Yeah.
It's like 3.5
Who's
hours
that villager?
long.
The goofy villager.
Oh, I can't remember his
the-
name. But he's
Smiley.
he's so charming.
Great film. I think
It's just stunning.
it goes to show that our 2 top films have been by 2 absolutely renowned and old school directors.
It's almost unfair, isn't it? It's
Well, it kind of goes to show that when people say these tier of films, that the top tier of films are there for a reason. I mean, I'm not saying our opinion means much at all. It does, but the fact of the matter is these guys generally knew what they're fucking doing, and some of these directors nowadays know what they're doing. And there's a reason, when you have a top 10 list, there's a reason that you need to kind of go and see these films.
Absolutely.
The reason that we're doing Film Club.
I really genuinely hope that either people who had just discovered things like Seven Samurai and 2001: A Space Odyssey got some sort of enjoyment from like coming and discussing those films with us, or at least seeing us discuss those, or it would be lovely to think that maybe some people actually did watch along with us and got to experience those films for the first time or for the 70th time, and got to kind of come along for that journey, because it's been absolutely bloody brilliant.
I'm quite nervous now.
Why?
He's got a film list there, films he hasn't seen, right? I'm probably going to go through a fair few of them. So
My list of shame.
It's going to be easy for you in the next 50 episodes to choose, like, because I know some of them are absolutely going to be like top.
True.
So I'm nervous. It's going to be hard to top those 50 episodes were.
I genuinely think the last 50 episodes were better than the first 50
I agree.
episodes, and
I
I
agree.
can't wait because I think we're going to continue to get better and better and better in this next 50. There was our top 5 from the last 50 episodes, and there was episode 100 of Film Club. Andy, we have sat here under these lights for 100 times.
Oh God, yeah, we have. Well, sometimes you're home, but yep.
Yeah, good point. You can let us know in the comments below what you thought of today's episode, or you can also leave us recommendations, because we're always open to finding new films, or you can hit us up on Twitter, as always. Next week, we'll be back for episode 101, where we're celebrating in style, moving forward with Lawrence of Arabia.
Which I can't wait to see.
We're moving forward by looking very far
I
backwards.
half wish that we did 101 Dalmatians just at the thing.
I said that to somebody.
Yeah.
I was like, we should do 101 Dalmatians, but it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah. Lawrence of Arabia. Supposed to be great. I'm soon to see. Thanks for joining us in this episode.
Come start the next 50 episodes with us. We'll see you next week.